Hi, I'm Alana. Welcome to another video. In today's video we are doing a get ready with me for church. So I thought that I would take this opportunity to talk about the power of silence. Like the power of silence and the power of stillness. The power of stillness. Because I feel like people don't appreciate the power of silence these days, you know? Everyone is so distracted and we are all consuming so much noise. We are consuming more noise than ever before with like TikTok and television and even just doom scrolling on Instagram. I feel like people have forgotten to pause and reflect and listen in to the silence. And the silence holds answers, you know? Like the silence holds so much wisdom, but people forget to be still. People forget to stop and pause and reflect and be still and listen to the sound of their own breath and the sound of their own heartbeat. And I feel like most people these days are just drowning in so much noise. In Psalm 46 it says, "Be still and know that I am God." I think it's calling us to pause and reflect. And also it's saying that if you are not still, then you won't feel God. Like you won't hear God's voice if you don't, like you won't hear God's voice. If you're not still, if you don't take the time to like pause and reflect and listen, then you won't hear God's voice. You won't feel His presence. It means that if you want to feel God's presence and hear His voice, then you need to be still. I used to spend all of my time just like drowning in noise. Like truly, I used to watch so much television, all like murder, true crime documentary series, and I was just like filling my mind with demons. And for a long time, I was never like still. I was never silent. I was always like drowning out my thoughts with noise, with music or radio. And I feel like a lot of people do that, you know? And some people listen to music or radio from the moment they wake up until the moment they go to sleep. Like first thing you wake up in the morning until the last thing at night, you're listening to music or radio or just like noise, and it's just filling your mind with noise. So I've been thinking about what is the meaning of this verse where God says, "Be still and know that I am God." And then that got me thinking about how if you play a fiddle, how allegedly if you play a fiddle fast enough, it summons the devil. And I think that's because when you are in movement, you're kind of like, your mind is busy. Oh my gosh. So I've been thinking about like, why does playing a fiddle fast enough summon the devil? And I think it's because it stirs up that frantic kind of energy, the same frantic kind of energy that is stirred up by certain drugs, certain kinds of music. All of these things, the fiddle, certain drugs, certain music, all these things, what they're doing is the opposite to being still. So I think that is why playing a fiddle fast enough summons the devil, because it stirs up frantic energy. And there are a ton of examples of things that stir up that frantic kind of energy, you know? They're all examples of the opposite of being still. But like the stillness, like the silence, holds infinite power. Like, have you ever heard of darkness retreats? There is a such thing as darkness retreats where people go and you just pay to go and spend like 3 days or 7 days or whatever just alone in the darkness. And like, I think they bring you meals and just like slide your meals under the door or whatever, but it's meant to like cleanse you and like heal you kind of thing, because you're spending so much time with, like, when you're in the darkness, you deprive your senses of like stimulation, and that's really helpful for your third eye and like for your senses to get a chance to breathe, and like you to get a chance to figure out what you are actually feeling and thinking and experiencing. Be still and know that I am God. That's what God says. That's what he says in Psalm 46. You know, like, people spend so much time and energy just trying to run away from themselves, trying to drown out their own thoughts and feelings with noise, with music or radio, and it's all just noise. But when you stop and you stand still and you listen into the silence, there is infinite wisdom in the silence. When I used to practice witchcraft, there was a spell that you could do that was essentially like calling out to the void. And so you just repeated these words, this chant, and it was calling out to the void. And so I would just spend like all night calling out to the void, and my house would become so haunted. It'd be like so cold and chilly because it was so haunted. But you can call out to the void because the void like holds answers. Like the silence, the stillness, the nothingness holds creative potential, and it has answers and wisdom in there if you stay still enough and silent enough to hear it, you know. But you need to stay very still and very quiet in order to really hear God's voice. And so those are my thoughts on the power of silence and stillness. So thank you for getting ready with me for church today. You're beautiful. You're perfect. I love you. God bless you. If you're new, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.